Hello and welcome to another episode of Casual Friday. I'm here with the Duck. As always, the show is brought to you by Woo. Links available in the description below. They've got a volume-based trading competition going on at the moment, so if you're just punting, you may be eligible, so check that out if that's of any interest. And as always, do not keep any more funds you need for trading on a given exchange. The whole point of leverage is to allow you to reduce your counterparty risk, or apparently put on massive fuck-off positions in altcoins, irrespective of funding, which has been quite fun to observe. Now, Don, in terms of intro stuff, I don't know how much time you've spent on Twitter. Given that your daughter hasn't been sleeping, maybe the answer is none or very much. There's like no in between. But some of our colleagues, friends, peers have been getting absolutely cooked for expressing even remotely bearish / risk-off opinions. And these are people who are arguing for just like a pullback from 44 to 46, or, like a 32K retest, or maybe down to even 38. Anything of that nature is getting absolutely brigaded and bombarded in the comments section. Now, I don't know how useful that is as a measure of sentiment, but seeing that type of shit after, 15 green weeks and with the ETF deadline approaching doesn't make me awfully comfortable. We'll talk about other stuff, but do you have any sentiment observations at this time, or have you been too plugged out to know?
I've actually been too plugged out. I didn't see any of that because right now the little one only wants to sleep if I hold her with both hands, which is unfortunate because
she's just like me.
Yeah. Brings back memories. Huh?
Right, yes. Many memories.
Anyway, yeah, so I don't have the hands free to go on Twitter. The only thing I can do is like watch videos on YouTube or something. That usually works, but other than that, not that much on that front. At least since yesterday. So it's not like this has been too long of a process. Yesterday or the day before, they all merge. The day before yesterday.
Yes, when you don't sleep, they all sort of melt into each other.
Yeah, but yeah. So I haven't seen any of that, but I'd be interested. Who's actually calling for lower? I didn't see any.
I mean, Biz made a tweet, BYZ, saying, I think we might nuke a bit. And then Chase is short from 43 or something, 43, 44. And he caught like a decent chunk of the move up as well. And he's just like, hey, this is, up only, down only type of price action in BTC. Some others making risk off arguments based on open interest, funding, and just in general the deadline looming. So it sort of started to emerge from the cracks, these kinds of, hey guys, you kind of see what's going on, right? Type of arguments. But I imagine more people feel that way than they're willing to admit publicly, because you look on Twitter as to the reaction you get if you post anything of that nature, and it is visceral at the moment.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite of the reaction essentially that you were getting when you were buying 15, 16. It's like, dude, you are like demented. You are the most retarded person in the world. Do you not know about recession? Do you not know about macro? Do you not know about finance? Do you not know about the US government having all these tokens, FTX estate, this, that? And it's just like, it was intellectually offensive to even fathom the market going up like 20%. And now it seems like the opposite is true. God forbid you argue for the proximity of the ETF deadline, some of these funding rates becoming stretched, ETH rally, meme coin stuff, Joule and Luna up 1,000,000%. You bring that up, it's met with the same response. Often by the same people, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a non-trivial overlap between people who are willing to cut your head off for being bullish at 15, 16, 17 and people who are willing to do the same if you're more sort of risk off or cautious now. So
yeah, I think like at this point, like obviously you can buy 40 and you can make money, right? Or like 44 and you can make money. It could even go all the way to 60K. But it's quite funny to kind of shit talk people that are saying like, hey, maybe it's time to risk off after a rally of 150%, right? Like this doesn't really make much sense to me. Just on the face value of it, yeah, ETF, everything. But at the end of the day, like what we're looking at is a narrative focused rally, at least to me, right? So basically everyone is speculating on the ETF bringing in huge volume, and I think this is the more reasonable take, a lot of people have just been speculating that no one, like it's basically like no one wants to sell because they know that they can sell higher closer to the ETF, right? Or like even after the ETF announcement. So that's kind of like the environment we're in, which basically means like I think, yeah, this can rally quite a bit if it wants to. If people kind of short too much, or in general, if this gets a little bit of mainstream kind of like headlines and all that kind of stuff, it's very hard to kind of see where this is going to top out. But I think in general, this is quite risky at this point, right? Like 16K felt quite comfortable, 20K felt quite comfortable, 25K felt somewhat comfortable, especially when we got the ETF news. 40K, that's starting to stretch it a little bit. And I think when you get into the higher 40s, at that point, you're playing with fire. But I could be completely wrong. Like, we could get the ETF and then people actually just buy like crazy because they've been starved for it. I don't know. But just based on the fact that this is a narrative based rally, just like at some point, the closer you get, the more risky it is. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe people are just waiting for the spike, like the ETF new spike. I don't even know if we're gonna get much of that, honestly.
Well, the thing is, I think there's a technical barrier to what you described there, and my best understanding is that there's a 2-month delay between when you'd presumably get the approval and when the thing actually gets listed, and then you can track its volume, inflows, etc. So if one is making the argument that no one wants to sell ahead of the ETF, or you should wait for the ETF and then monitor depending on, you know, the volume and inflows, etc., I think they're missing a step, essentially. Because for that to be true, then you'd have to argue that the market's just going to rally all the way into the announcement, rally on the announcement, and then still not pull back in that 1 to 2 month period before it actually gets listed and tradable. And at that point, it's going up only for 6 months, and is it like 70K or something? So I think it sort of layers in or bakes in additional assumptions, which are sort of marginally harder to justify, at least in my mind.
I think
go on.
So, sorry, like in general, I think, and it's something that I said at 25K, the longer this goes, right? Like the higher this goes, the more likely it is that it's just generally priced in, I think. Like we've been doing a lot of pricing in, and obviously you can price this thing in until like 60, 70K. But in my opinion, like let's say this pulls back significantly now, which doesn't seem like this has to necessarily like aggressively pull back, just based on just how the chart looks. Doesn't look like necessarily like you're gonna get an aggressive pullback. But if it did, right, like if you pulled back aggressively into the deadline, I think then you can start having like basically making plays, like positive plays again on the news, right? You basically like, okay, people have been washed out. Now this is actually like generally good news. So now I can play that again. But the higher the price is, I think the less likely that trade is going to go well, right? Like I don't think if we're trading at 50K and then the ETF is approved, that you're going to get much of a free ride to like 60, 70, 80K based on the news. At that point, I think that seems unrealistic. So the higher it goes, the more likely, in my opinion, it is to sell the news event. If it goes lower, the more likely it is that you can actually buy it. That's kind of my going thesis.
Yeah, you kind of reset the timer on it if you flush somewhat, you know. Yeah, I think that's fair. Also, you made a point as far as magnitude of the move and duration, and I agree that there are decent sort of, you know, there's a decent contingent of participants waiting for like the final spike, squeeze, what have you. But that final portion is always the most dangerous part of a trend, right? Yeah. Like the final 5-10%, like, oh, just a little bit more and I'll be fully out. That tends to be a really expensive portion of trading because the reversals tend to be quick and then volatility tends to pick up. And then I think it also correlates very highly with sort of the analysis paralysis type of setups, where you're kind of waiting for a spike and, you know, you're in a good position. And then it spikes, which is what you expected, but very quickly reverses back to essentially where it was pre-spike. And at that point, the chart looks really ugly and volatility's picking up and you're just fucking sat there like a deer in headlights. Like, I'm sure every trader knows that experience. When you have like a rough expectation for what the market's going to do and it does it at 10 times the speed, and you're kind of like, wait, what the fuck just happened? Did I miss the setup, but it's kind of at the same price? Okay, what if it backfills the wick? I'll close some. Like, that's a really sort of dangerous frame of mind to be in, especially if it ends up in a round trip. Like, let's just make up some prices. Let's say it's a, you know, asset is at 80K and you want to sell it at 90K in anticipation of the spike price, whatever, and then it spikes to like 88 and then ends up at 78 within like a trading session. At that point, you're kind of like, what the fuck? Well, what am I supposed to do now? Has my setup played out? Is it still valid? Do I wait for a bounce? Like, do I get out break even? It gets really fucking complicated when you get that type of spread blowout volatility, day of the news type of thing. And also, there just isn't a lot of time left, man. You know, from our favorite Bloomberg people whom we've turned into celebrities. It's pretty much the first week of January, right?
Yeah.
And that's when we know the decision, and then there's a 1 to 2 month sort of delay if there is an approval before the thing actually gets listed and you can observe the volumes, inflows, and so on and so forth. So basically, if you're holding into the news and post into the basically necessary delay period, you've essentially invented a perpetual motion machine, right? Where it's like it will rally into the ETF, then it will rally on the announcement, and it will stay buoyant between the delay of the approval and the subsequent listing. And then when it gets listed and goes live, the volumes are going to be really high and the inflows are going to be high, and it's going to keep going. And at that point, we'll have 58 green weekly candles with 0 pullbacks, and exchanges will disable the red button or whatever. I don't know. I don't mean to bear tart it too hard. I just think like we're approaching the higher risk like segment of this, both from a time and price perspective. And it's been fucking ages, right? It came out at 24K, this BlackRock ETF thing, and we're now at the price where Luna was buying BTC with their treasury before our entire industry went to zero. Like, just for some fucking context, right? We are at the same price where Luna, which was going to be some mega trillion stablecoin and end up being like a massive fraud that had a knock-on effect on nuking the entire industry, they were buying BTC with their reserves at this price. That's where we are now in the space of 2 months, essentially, with 0 high time frame pullbacks. There's just some context worth bearing in mind. I don't mean to bear tart it too hard, as I said, but like there are just some things like that. When you look at the proximity of the ETF deadline, where we are price-wise, how quickly we got here, so on and so forth, it just gets a bit like, okay, well, how much do I want to squeeze from this, or do I want to de-risk at least a little bit so I have peace of mind and I can actually buy dips if they come and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I think like that's 100% valid, and I think it makes like perfect sense. I think in general, what might happen is basically this goes a little bit higher, and all the people at de-risk just add on top again, and then everyone gets fucked. Like these are the kind of conditions where even if you're reasonable, there's a good chance that you get fucked at the end of the day. 100%. Like this can go towards 50K, and then if you chase it at 50K, I think you're gonna get like a 20-30%, like 10-20-30% daily candle to the face, to the downside. It can also just not go there and still put that in. We are high enough now where you can get like these like 20-30% pullbacks that we're kind of famous for, but we are also kind of like irrational enough right now where you could also just get like a 10% daily candle and then tomorrow another 10% daily candle to the upside, right?
Yes.
So like these kind of conditions are really hard to trade, I think, especially as like a swing trader, unless you have a really good entry and you just don't give a fuck, like giving back, like, I mean, it's up how much, like 140% from the bottom. No, it's more than that even, I think. It is up 180% from the bottom. Holy shit.
Yeah. Thanks for playing.
Yeah. And
we've all outperformed BTC, right? I mean, obviously. Obviously. How could you not? Like, what are you?
I'm actually still up against Bitcoin, even though I sold.
Yeah, well, fuck you, buddy. No one asked.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, we're up that much, so you can get these pullbacks. So yeah, we'll see. I'm not too bad-hearted, but I'm also like, for me, this just seems like a dumb spot to buy. Just for context, like me looking at this, I'm like, this is just fucking dumb now. But it can stay dumb longer than a lot of people can stay sidelined.
Yeah, sure.
I have very little kind of like FOMO on that front. So if it goes to 60K and then pulls back to 40, I'm gonna be like, oh, cool. Maybe that's a new entry next year. We'll see.
Yeah, it's still a good fucking trade. That's the thing, right? These wipeout setups, they're basically price agnostic. So even if you were to completely forget the whole ETF thing, sideline thing, whatever narrative you want to concoct, if you take the basic premise that even in very, very strong uptrends, BTC will somewhat regularly pull back 20 to 40%, Like that can still be true despite whatever narrative wrapping you put around it. And then it's a question of where does that 20 to 40% pullback come from? And the helpful answer is doesn't really matter. Whatever price it comes from, that's still a sort of good setup and is your pullback setup if you're waiting one from the higher time frames. And it could be from fucking 44, the casual Friday curse, or it could be from, I don't know, 50 something. It doesn't matter. The fact, I think it's very likely that you'll get something. And it's just a matter of you need to be somewhat price agnostic as far as acting on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite wild. This is why people love and hate this market so much.
Yeah, 100%.
Because, I mean, you just need to get a few people to go crazy over this thing to push it up quite a bit. And those same people will push it up so far that it just completely craters afterwards, which makes this a really good place to trade. I think the best market to trade. Just based on the amount of idiots that trade it, basically. And I mean, that's good news, but that's also making it quite hard to predict all of this. Like once it gets stupid, how stupid can it get? I don't think anyone can answer that really realistically. So we'll see. But generally, the charts, like on the monthly time frame, we reclaimed 35, kind of went up only since. But kind of like running into the mid range now.
Sure.
I don't really have any resistances in between like the range low and the range high, so 60k. But I could still see this pullback. But on the monthly time frame, this still looks quite good, I think. Unless this monthly candle closes red, I don't really see.
Can you imagine?
Oh, I mean, that'd be fucking terrible. But I don't really see too much of an issue with current price action on the monthly time frame. So yeah, that's not that bad. Like the monthly, for all the bear tatting we did, still looks quite good to me. The weekly also looks quite good. It's reaching higher levels, but I don't think they're as relevant as the lower levels were.
Sure.
The only problem that we have, and I think that's just generally when you have this kind of uptrend, is that you're very far from invalidation. So these high time frames look good, but you cannot do anything with them, right? Like for example, on the weekly time frame, what's the support that you would want to buy on the weekly time frame? And I think the answer to that is 32k, right? Like that's the only real good support on the weekly time frame. I mean, if you want to be like super aggressive, maybe like 36 or something. But given this has rallied so much and has created so much empty space, basically, it looks great and it can go higher. But also, like, where's your next invalidation if you're still in that trade? And the answer to that is still like 32k, like close below 32k is your invalidation. But I also like think like if you're not in that trade, where do you buy? And that's 32, 33, 34, which puts it quite far away from current price. And a lot of people, I think, have been buying at like 37, 38, 39, 40, just based on what I've been seeing online. I mean, Coinbase is starting to climb the ranks again on the App Store. A bunch of people, like in real life, have been talking about altcoins again.
I've had some real life stuff too, man. I don't know how to feel about it.
It's quite wild because it was very quiet and now it's heating up again. And in general, like I've seen more and more mentions basically of this thing, which doesn't have to be bad. This is either like how you create a top or how you create like this completely flywheel effect where everything goes completely crazy. For me, it makes more sense that this is kind of like a intermediate kind of top-ish signal. But it could be both. I don't really have too strong feelings. But yeah, if I had to pick an area to buy on the weekly, it'd be 32k. I think that's the most reasonable one. But that's so far away that people are already like this, we can never get there again. And I mean, it is quite far away now. It's 26%. But I think that's actually quite reasonable for a bull market pullback. If it's not a bull market, that's even more reasonable. So both are reasonable. It's just basically how high can this ETF hype take us? And I'm struggling with that answer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you have anything on the weekly?
On the weekly, mate, I'm honestly not sure. Like, I've gone back and forth on adding like a weekly/monthly mid-range between, and it lands at around, 44, 48, whatever, like mid-40s. I think it's better than nothing. I think what gives it a bit of a boost contextually is that we've had 86 green candles on the weekly in a row. And so even like moderate levels of resistance, that may not be amazing. In those circumstances, something is better than nothing. And those levels get a bit of a contextual boost because the market's just clamoring to look for anything as an anchor. So that's an area. So on the weekly, that's like 45.6. And on the monthly, if we use the same sort of parameters, it's 46.8. So sort of 45 to 47K is non-trivial, I think. I could go as early as pretty much where we are now, which is the underside of the monthly cluster at 43.8. I don't think that's complete dog shit, especially if we close the monthly, if we spike and close the monthly below 43.8, or if we get like a nasty looking reaction there. I'd be inclined to think that there is some sort of technical backing there. The problem is, from like a flow point of view, a lot of the metrics that are regularly used to see new inflows, like tether premiums and stablecoin mints, etc., they aren't quite firing off the whole kind of retail FOMO type new money signals that you'd want to see to support this type of price action. Now, I will concede that there are mixed signals on that, like the App Store one, retail, normie stuff, altcoin flows are sort of a counterpoint, but it's at best a muddied picture. And we also know that some of the Coinbase execution was coming from Saylor as well. So, shout out to him. He's up like 200 billion now. So I think, and you have to also consider the whole CME open interest is like an all-time high. And has been for a while, sort of driving this versus sort of normie retail punters. So I think again, at best, it's like a muddied picture as far as the flow stuff goes. And really in terms of shorter term price action, it's been a mixed story between, spot exchanges kind of throwing up big bid walls and walking it up, but also it's just fucking shorters, man. Like the market goes up, they sell, the market goes sideways, they add, and then the market just goes up and blows them out. So a lot of the sort of moves up are sort of, yes, technical and spot based and whatever else. But man, there's just been a lot of shorts coming in at really shitty times and getting carried out. And that's at least a combination of not just like fresh buyers pushing this shit through, but sellers being too aggressive and making themselves vulnerable to these types of moves at the same time. So that was like a bit of a mixed and maybe even confusing diatribe, but just as far as kind of what's behind this price action, not that that's a useful exploration whatsoever. I mean, the price is the fucking price. But I would argue that it's a little bit mixed and not one-sided as far as, it's just new retail, new everything, fresh money, send it. There are pieces of evidence that support that, but there's also just some weird, clumsy trading from the perp side and other things that contradict the retail narrative, like the CME open interest all-time high shit. So I'm not sure whether in the last 3 minutes I fucking said a single thing, but at least in the low time frames, to bring this back at least a tiny bit, it has been really useful to observe this recurring pattern, which I've kind of poked out 1 or 2 times before, where essentially you get an increase in open interest and increase in price as well. So, some aggressive participation on the perps, and the market moves up. And then as the market moves sideways, open interest kind of goes sideways as well, but the relative premiums get completely fucking flattened, right? So in that consolidation after the spike, I think that's decent evidence of a bunch of shorts coming in, but price just isn't budging, right? So open interest kind of goes sideways-ish, premiums get completely fucking flattened and price goes sideways. So you've got aggressive participation from the sell side with no payoff or follow through whatsoever. And then it just takes a small push and they all fucking puke. And that's just been happening. You can see on the 15-minute, on the 1 hour, if you've got something like Velo or Coinalyze, just like over and over and over again. And it's been really weird to observe because historically you and I are used to seeing that open interest nukes, at least in these types of, when the market is corrective, tend to happen when the market dips as well, right? Like long gets flushed, open interest nukes, and you get a bit of a sort of reset. We haven't seen basically any of that whatsoever, which even if your low time frame trend trading is a good signal, but that just hasn't been fucking happening. It's just been shorts entering on consolidations after a move up and then getting carried out. Then again, consolidation gets shorted, carried out, consolidation, shorted, carried out. And that's been fucking mental to observe. Part of the reason that makes shit so difficult is because we essentially agree that the high time frames are about as useful as a fucking chocolate teapot at this time because all the levels are so far away. So then your other option is to like low time frame trend trade ape in essentially and be willing to take a massive haircut if the pullback isn't a sort of really shallow mean reversion pullback, but is rather in the 20 to 40% range or even 10, whatever. But ordinarily, if you kind of throw the, if you get rid of the high time frames, say, oh, fuck it, yes, 32K, 35K, I get it, Don and Cred, thank you. Your analysis hasn't changed in 6 months, but I want to trade now. So I'm going to put on my sort of, look at the order flow tools, moving averages, low time frame ranges, etc. Even within that constrained lower time frame sort of framework, if you're looking for those open interest flush reset type of setups on BTC, you haven't even fucking had those. Like the most quote unquote bearish thing we've had is the market moving like diagonally sideways type of thing, just like up and sideways or not up immediately. So I feel like this has been particularly brutal because even if you had the foresight to be like, okay, fuck the high time frames, you've reclaimed it, just send it. I'm going to look for low time frame pullbacks. You haven't even had those. And that's what makes it tricky. And when you eventually give up and say, you know what, fuck waiting for a dip, I don't care about the high time frames. I don't care about the low time frame pullback stuff. It's just going to go and I'm going to buy it now. That's when it's going to nuke 20 to 40% or whatever. So yeah, that's again, sorry for the long, confusing, meandering rant there, but I guess my thoughts are also all over the place.
No, I totally agree. It's quite funny to, like, in general, like if you're a bear, right? Like I don't know why people have been so bearish on this entire rally. Like I don't get it because you really, like, if you're bearish, you have really easy time to sell after the ETF because you're still gonna have bull tarts. Like just from a bearish perspective, right? Let's ignore the bull case that the ETF is going to lead to price appreciation and everything goes up. But from a bearish perspective, right? So you have this catalyst that is driving price up. You can look at it and basically be like, yeah, but this is kind of bullshit because we already have a bunch of ETFs in Europe, wherever. They didn't really do anything. And now price is up a shitload just in anticipation for the American one, right? So what can you do as a bear? You can just sit on the sidelines, let the bulls push the price up as high as they want to, right? Like if they want to buy like 40, 50, 60K, so be it. You can just sit there, wait till the ETF is reasonably close. And I think that's kind of like 1 or 2 weeks, as in like basically end of the year. And then be like, okay, fuck it. Now I'm going to risk it. And then you either, or you wait even for the spike, right? The announcement spike, because good chance there's going to be one. And then you can just full send it and you just call the rally as a bluff, like it's all, and then you go in on that, right? That's quite easy. But for some reason, like all the bears that I've been seeing, they've just been completely focused on prices up, I have to shoot, which is just so odd in the face of news, right? Because this is not how you trade news. Whenever you have news flow, you don't short until you either get exhaustion, and the market really hasn't given any of that, right? Like it's literally walked sideways upwards during consolidation, or you just wait till the news are closer. And now they're getting closer, but now people are getting afraid to short, which is what it is.
Hey, it's a good combo. Don't lie to me, Don. That's fucking spicy, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, if I was still in the shorting business, I mean,
the shorting business. I think that business is fucking selling newsletters, mate. Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, the shorting business
and macro podcasts,
selling paid groups and newsletters. Yeah. But I mean, I would be salivating over this, like, because this is quite the aggressive rally based on something that could just fall flat, right? And if it falls flat, you're going to see a bunch of people be disillusioned. And it's not like we've had very good kind of news flow and in general good like reasons to be optimistic about crypto lately. So if the
price, Don, come on.
Yeah, it's literally only the price and it's the ETF, right? Those are the two only things that we really have going for the industry. Elizabeth Warren has been going on and on how crypto is terrorism.
Yes.
And that seems very likely to escalate further. You have Binance getting like ZZ kind of disappearing now. You had obviously the whole Sam Bankman-Fried era. Like we've had enough on that front, right? Whereas like the long tail of that could still hit us. So like if you as a patient bear, just wait for that and then just slam it, I think there's a good chance that you're just gonna be making off like a bandit, like you're just rinsing the market. But instead, what they've been doing is just been shorting every single consolidation like complete and utter
Yeah. In the
morons.
middle of fucking nowhere as well, right? In most of these
Yeah.
cases.
So I mean, if I was more actively trading and if I was kind of looking for shorts, which I don't do anymore, but I mean, this is the prime setup, right? I would love to kind of like go at this, take a stab, kind of call the market out, and then if you're wrong, right? It's fair enough, but I think that's kind of the way to look at it from a bearish perspective. The bullish perspective is also decent, I think. It's not like the only reasonable take is the bearish one. I think the bullish one is also quite decent because you've basically washed out every single person that you could have washed out in the last 2-3 years. And maybe now with like a lot of the bad actors gone, with a lot of the people that like crypto being washed out and they kind of have to buy back, maybe it's just going up from here. I think that's also a reasonable take. But this whole bear shenanigans that I've been seeing has been embarrassing, to say the least. The bears have not been really doing what they're supposed to be doing if they want to keep some money. But yeah, that time will come. I think going into the news, it's more likely than not that the bears are going to have more fun than the bulls will. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, that's generally my view as well. I also think those views can kind of coexist, where bears get to make some money from the bulls who are mega late to just the ETF and the price action that comes with it, and get a sort of nuke correction in that context. But then it ultimately, months down the line, next year, whatever, resolves positively. And since if as long as we stay above 30K ish, it can still just kind of spend some time post ETF, and they'll overlap nicely with like halving narratives picking up and the ETF listings themselves, not just the announcement, but the listings and the inflows picking up, and then we can just have a real fucking go at all-time high. That would be really cool, I think. Again, this is more like artistic nonsense, 10 layers deep, onion level speculation, but something like correction around start of year into, close to ETF news, and then, sideways 1-2 months where bears get over exuberant at that point, being like the whole thing was a fugazi. And then as we get halving memes plus 2024 seasonality memes plus ETF listing on the horizon and they come in with some decent volume, then we run it back again. I think that would be quite cool, but it's completely baseless speculation. Aside from just like fitting nicely as puzzle pieces in my head, I've got like no other compelling arguments in favor for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling with this too. Like, I'm just like, this is just gonna be a patience game because the news is closed. It's 1 month. If you want to squeeze that month, you can try.
Yes.
I think it's not the worst idea, but also the risk is basically increasing day by day by day.
If you're a high time frame guy, you've got fuck all to do. Do we agree on there, like on that front, where if you're sort of monthly, weekly, daily pullback levels, support resistance, like fucking delete those time frames until this shit starts to correct properly, because we're too far away. There's literally no business to be done. I think the only alternative to that is the one you mentioned on in our newsletter, where you said if we consolidate and then build a support structure, that can allow you to move up your invalidation and give you something to work with up here. But otherwise, it's a bit thin oxygen-wise.
Yeah, I think in general, like either you're just a gigabull, and this is something that I've been saying for like, I think I said it last week too. Is like if you're a gigabull and you're just like, fuck it, I bought 16, 17, 18, 20K, whatever. I don't care if this pulls back.
Yes.
You can do the high time frame thing by looking at the high time frames and being like, they actually don't look that bad. And then you can just keep on holding and add on the next pullback. I think that's reasonable. If you're a bullish kind of guy. For me, generally, I look at the market more as a means to make me money rather than a means to accumulate Bitcoin. So I think that's a very different kind of perspective to have. So it depends. Like the people that want to have more Bitcoin, they obviously need to be more bullish, right? Because if you miss out on that one buy on a high time frame basis, and you've been speculating on that quite a bit, then you get fucked. So for me, I just look at this and I'm like, okay, is there money to be made? And I don't really see any. So
that's
at
what
least
altcoins are for, Don.
Yes,
Yeah, I was gonna say, you complacent little fucking castle renting rat. There is a thing called meme coins and altcoins where all the fun has been.
I've heard they've been going crazy. I haven't really been looking.
Yeah.
But,
any final BTC? I mean, we kind of did the levels like monthly. There really isn't a lot going on. If you wanted to start getting aggressive with levels, I think the midpoint cluster at 43.8 to 47 is arguable, at least. It's not super clear and there isn't a ton of overlap, but I think it's something rather than nothing. So that's semi-relevant. On the weekly time frame, aside from the far away from proximity and validation points that we made, I don't think there's a whole lot that's super good on this time frame. This might be one of those where if the market puts in some more price action, I sort of do a DonAlt and find a level where I was like, oh, it was obviously this level all along. It might be, depending on the weekly close, somewhere around 43.1. You know, that weekly swing low cluster looking thing on the weekly? That might be something, 43.1 to 41.8. But that's maybe reaching. But again, it's sort of all in the same, not as aligned with the monthly, but it's all in the same neighborhood. And then the daily time frame, just like, no. The best I could really, if I had to reach on the daily time frame, I'd probably go for the pre-lunar Bitcoin buying breakout level, which we just tested and was the Pico top. Oh God, I need to delete this level straight away. 44.3 done. That range high before the lunar breakout, and then we dropped under it. Dude, it literally feels like fucking yesterday. We were doing that weekly open show with Ledger, saying, yeah, the breakout's good, but it's like a lot of lunar stuff, and if that breakout fails, we're really fucked. Do you remember that shit? Like, I swear time is frozen. And we're right back at that level at 44.3. Unbelievable. Fucking mental, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite high, just all things considered, right? Considering how much shit went down.
Literally.
Literally. This is quite high. Like, just having basically reclaimed all of that is wild. Like,
Insane.
free AC, Luna, FTX blow up. I mean, Binance getting a huge kind of...
yes.
Whatever you want to call
Celsius, Voyager, BlockFi.
I mean, who hasn't gotten wrecked? is the better
Technical Roundup, baby.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, stay tuned.
So yeah, that's quite wild. It's been a good year. Like, it's been a really, really good year, considering everything that came before it. So
Don, let me say something bold. If this lunar breakout bullshit level, 44.3, ends up being the top, and we trade to like 35 or below from here, I'll fucking do a bathtub stream.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'll do a fucking bathtub Twitch stream.
Oh shit. Okay. Time to borrow some Bitcoin for me,
bro. Because that would, yeah. First of all, yeah, but that so would just be. Listen, I don't think it's like a insane bet. It's within the realm of plausibility, given everything we've discussed. But it would just be so fucking funny if that ended up being the high, basically, that I wouldn't be able to not commemorate it.
So. I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised.
Or we just edit this out, you know?
It's better for the world.
It's better for the world if I didn't do a bathtub stream, yeah. You know what? Forget I said anything. I'm a liar and not a man of my word. Fuck it. But yeah, this is just, it's always funny to revisit not just price, but also the history associated with that price and kind of see what the fuck we've been through. And the answer is a lot, to be honest. Too much, some would say, yeah. So that's BTC. Do you have any hourly, 4-hour, any like non-DonAlt offensive timeframes do you want to discuss? I woke up bear posting in your WhatsApp DMs, which is usually the best bullish signal you can get. My thing was like, hey, BTC is kind of pulling back, but then alts are up like 10%. This is a bit weird. because it was making this retest the lower high thing with alts up mega. I was like, oh, well, this narrative is entirely BTC driven. And the speculation is BTC driven. What if this thing does like a stealth pullback? You'd expect alts to pull back as well if the market is narrative focused. But if BTC starts showing weakness and everyone just yeets into ETH and alts, that's a decent froth proxy signal of some sort. But then I had my coffee and was like, forget anything I have to say and please lend me another $1,000. Like the normal messages I send you in the morning. I don't know if you have any thoughts on lower time frames at the moment.
I mean, I haven't looked at lower time frames, but now looking at it, I mean, I kind of agree with you. Like, just having Bitcoin kind of break a consolidation to the downside, even though like we're still trading near or at that consolidation, right? Like that 44,000 consolidation that we had, that broke to the downside, and you have a new consolidation. And then you have the altcoins going up. Like, that's not the best combination. So if this new consolidation around like where we are trading right now, 43.5, whatever, breaks down, I think you're going to get a more sizable pullback. Even if you're bullish, I think you would have to kind of target very low 41 if like on the low time frames.
Yeah.
At that point, I think in general, like, it's quite crazy how people went from this market cannot go up because of macro to this market cannot even pull back below 40K.
It's the same people.
Like, how the fuck is that? How does that make any sense? Like, this market pulls back 10% on a day. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we're trading at 39K tomorrow, just based on the fact that like it's up 180%. It can pull back 10%. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's allowed
like,
to, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to, obviously. And this is where the bear tarts get it wrong. They're like, this has to pull back.
Right.
And I can tell you it doesn't have to pull back. But to think that it doesn't have the ability to pull back, not even 10%, because that's what it is, right? Like a 10% pullback would take this below 40K again.
Yes.
Like, I mean, how is that unreasonable, right? But for some reason, that seems to be the sentiment that I'm seeing. So yeah, I think bulls are like at risk, especially if this keeps going. Like, if you keep consolidating here and altcoins keep going crazy, I think at that point you thin out the Bitcoin bids. You've kind of the attention. I mean, this is in general in crypto how it works is if you have the attention, you do well, and if you don't, you don't, right? And this is why the top volume coins on Binance, they usually do dumb shit to the up and downside, right? Like, but they do well. And the low volume shit like Litecoin, for example, that no one gives a fuck about, that just keeps on bleeding out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Litecoin, BTC, that's a sight to behold on the weekly time frame.
God.
Actually made new all-time lows.
Really? Oh my days.
Yeah. It's a new all-time lows if you disregard like Binance Wix to zero. But
listen, it's an SFP. It's a failed breakdown, Don.
I
This
mean,
is the most bullish thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, I mean, that chart in general,
especially with the halving being priced in. Oh boy, we're in for a fucking ride.
Oh boy. But yeah, like, if you have the attention, that's good, right? And this is why I keep making this argument. Like, as long as Bitcoin has the attention, there's a good chance that it just keeps going up. If it starts losing the attention and people start branching out, they stop being aggressively bidding on Bitcoin. They stop kind of looking for buys. And that thing just wipes out and wipes all of those people out at the same time, because if Bitcoin goes down, you're gonna get wiped out.
Yeah, it's like spreading yourself too thin, essentially.
Yes.
And also, I have like a ton of every video I make, I have to reference PTSD as an excuse for being shit at this. But like, I've got a ton of well-grounded PTSD in essentially what is Bitcoin apathy, right? Like, especially when Bitcoin is the narrative center and the reason for a lot of the speculation. As soon as like the participants stop giving a shit and they're like balls deep in 3 layers of an ecosystem and don't even know the price of BTC, you're on borrowed time at that point. Yep. I'm not sure if we're necessarily there yet, but I'm starting to feel it a little bit. Also, Don, at this rate, with the amount of passive bear tarding we've done, I'm going to have to send out a tweet from my main account being like, congratulations to everyone who was respectfully long from 43.7. And now it has come to my attention that, you know, we're fucking going to 12K is programmed.
Apparently. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to be a Christmas miracle for Capo.
Christmas miracle? Okay. There we go. That's the title. Christmas miracle for Capo. Actually, it's not. That's a terrible title. Speaking of things that make you very bullish, Don, ETH BTC.
Oh yeah, that's the biggest alarm signal that I've seen.
It's got a nice, I mean, it hasn't fucking gone anywhere technically, right? Like, from a higher time frame weekly trend point of view, it's literally in the same 4-week range, just with a wick to the downside. that got gobbled up. Obviously, the more recent local price action, there's a pretty spicy looking 4-hour V reversal thing, but it's kind of still within the same range. Is this, as an ETH BTC hater, is this enough to make you worried / add to the case, or is it still noisy in the grand scheme?
I think this is like an early warning sign that like Bitcoin is running on borrowed time a little bit. But if this just completely retraces as ETH has been doing, like it's not like this is the first time it's been putting in a green candle. Good thing is this is the first green candle like this on the daily time frame that isn't necessarily based on use, right? Like this was just basically a bunch of people shorting ETH that got blown out, and a bunch of people buying ETH because they think it's a good buy, right? So it's much, yeah, it's much better than the one that we had on the 9th of November, which was the ETH ETF announcement. Still hilarious that we're trading below it, right? Like it's an altcoin, and you have like major interest in an ETH ETF, and we're still trading lower than that, while other altcoins are up like 1,000%. Right? Like that's just fucking wild to me. I still think ETH is a really shitty bet in comparison to almost everything else. I mean, you like people were like euphoric about the ETH move, and then you look at Solana, right? And that's done much better and has been much better of an entry too, and consistently just been much better. So yeah, I
that's
think
been a
ETH
wild move as well, mate, hasn't it?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, Solana is crazy.
Yeah. I wish I traded that at least slightly better. Like especially I mean, you know, I'm terrible at holding into lockout trends. I can sort of poke and trade them a little bit and maybe hold them for like a week or two, but then I start staring at the daily chart even. I'm like, yo, I don't want to, you know, give this back. Essentially, should really trade more spot, to be completely honest with you. But I've also got some dog shit Solana NFTs. So that's what I'm using to cope, which is really helpful. and that's from like 3 years ago,
too, right?
I don't know. I think I lost my wallet.
No.
I don't know. I need to look into it. But yeah, like with this thing, if you look at just the weekly chart, there's been one red week and it didn't even do shit. It's barely visible. Like from basically October, when it broke out of the range, it's just been up only and more than doubled in price. So that's pretty fucking mental. Do you still have a level here around 78? Is that a thing, or is it like no?
If anything, like I mean, you can make a level at 78. Yeah. The monthly is interesting to me at like 100. I think at 100 at that point, it kind of gets more obvious where this wants to go. But like I mean, if you're not selling 100 after having bought like low, that seems ridiculous. And then if that is enough to break this trend to the upside, then you could make the whole meme of that's the lower high before obscurity.
You hit the Wall Street cheat sheet.
Yes, basically. Now I'm not really like these kind of moves. I don't really trade, which I should probably. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made, but I mean, there's just I don't trade these unless I have high conviction, but I don't really have high conviction in anything crypto, right? So it makes it really hard to hold because I'm basically like, I cannot believe I bought something for $20 and someone is dumb enough to buy it back from me for $50. Like that's just incredible.
You need to suspend reason, Don. This isn't crypto native reasoning.
Yeah, but that's not how I work.
I go through terrifying thought experiments sometimes, which is some version of I wonder what my lifetime P&L would look like on the long side if I only traded spot and reduced by and increased my holding period to 3 to 7 days. Because a lot of the time, the way it works, I don't know how relatable this is to you, probably not at all, because it's a normal trading experience. But something like you have an idea and you punt it on the high, like it's a high time frame idea, you punt it, you close, you look at the low time frame, and then it pulls back after you exited, and you're like, oh, well, fucking awesome. This is just dopamine on dopamine. And then you revisit the chart like 2 to 7 days later, and it's up like 50% from where you sold. And you just fucking haven't been paying attention or thought the trade was over. That happens way too often to a point where I should probably do something about it. But it's very hard to sort of fluidly transition from active management perp trader into more passive, wider invalidation, longer holding period spot trader. I feel like doing that is really fucking tricky. And it's almost like a, observer effect type of thing, where as soon as you're like, you know what, I should really start holding these assets for longer and maybe switch to spot and like go for less active management, the market just starts ranging and round tripping you, and you just feel like a dickhead. And it works the other way around as well, where if you decide to be super, perp oriented and active management, etc., the market just floats and doubles your entry or whatever you do. So basically, you just switch your approach or regime at the most inopportune time for the market. Like I've done that before. It's not fun. So my default is just to be the lower-ish time frame, 0 to 3 holding day perp type of punts. But I need to get better at transitioning from that to something that's more suitable for these market conditions. I don't know how much of it is laziness versus complacency or whatever else, but definitely some work to be done there on the personal trading front for anyone who gives a fuck.
Yeah, I think in general, like this is a big problem. I think in general, I think a lot of people deal with this. For me, I'm just like, oh yeah, I should be doing this, but fuck it, I just like my high time frames. I like to take my wins, and then they come and go slowly. If I lose a bunch of money, I don't like my portfolio is not down 50% in a day. I kind of like it that way. But it's also not up like 200% in a day, right? So like it has its up and downsides, I think. So yeah, I think it just depends on personal preference. And if you kind of try to switch it up, like you said, it usually happens at bad timings. Now for me, like I could have, because I had strong conviction that 16K was going to be the bottom, right? So for me, I could have actually just been like, fuck it, I'm just going to trade much more, because it's much easier to trade the low time frames correctly in combination with the high time frames if you have like a very strong bias in one direction or the other, right? Like if you're like, okay, 16K is the bottom, what do I do to maximize that? And that's something that I did wrong, where I could have just maxed out on the profits I made during this rally just by being a little bit more aggressive on that front. But yeah, that's kind of, I mean, it's not great. Could have gone better, but also like it went great already.
Yes.
So I don't know why I'd be complaining. So yeah.
No, Don, you're not allowed to. Well, we are not allowed to self-reflect and be self-critical. We're supposed to nail every move, pull P&L cards out of our asses, and find tweets from 3 months ago that vaguely gesture in the direction the market went. Because that's the social media game. Is this your first day, or did you miss the booklet?
Dude, it's been a little bit frustrating to see like people pull out these tweets, because I know like who tweeted what at 16K. And then you see these people that tweeted like one tweet that was like, oh yeah, price is kind of lowish, maybe you want to start accumulating now, but then they fired like 20 bearish tweets afterwards. And then I see that one tweet retweeted like 6 months later being like, did you buy Anon?
Yeah.
I don't even know
Anon,
how to pronounce
yeah.
it. Anon. And I'm like, dude, I saw what you did, and I saw how you tweeted, and this is kind of embarrassing. But people obviously not really around. People don't kind of remember as well as we do, I think. So it works, and it's been a little bit interesting.
I just don't know what goes through your mind at that point. Maybe we're too European for this, but I find, especially in these portions of the market where you're seeing a mega influx of like P&L cards and threads and whatever else, everyone doing super well, it just helps to have like a breath of fresh air in terms of like self-reflection, talking about potential risks, the potential mistakes. I mean, part of the reason you're getting this price action is because a lot of people are getting it fucking wrong. Like the liquidations that you see aren't people doing well. So I feel like it's valuable to just be able to reflect and talk about the trade-offs in your system, how late/early you were adjusting to conditions, how it's not, the risk of it not staying super easy forever, all that type of stuff. And you and I both know the second this thing prints like a red fucking weekly or something of that nature, the amount of hindsight nonsense we're going to see is going to be incredible. Like, oh, you weren't taking profit when XYZ Anon? Come on, Anon. Like, is this your first time? or like, oh,
Oh.
thank God I hedged everything at the high, or lol, that was fun, but it's over now. Here are my short P&L cards. It's like, or like, oh, I hope you took profit. Risk management is number one when the market's already down like 10, 15, 20%. It's like, fuck you, basically. Where are those tweets now? You know, like if you really feel that way, then you should have no issue expressing it. At least no one's telling you to fucking telegraph all of your positioning in your entire short and, you know, like live portfolio or whatever. But if you're going to say that shit after the fact and you were feeling it in the moment, there's really no harm to sharing it. I mean, yeah, the social media aspect can suck, but if you're going to concede that the social media aspect sucks, you can't just take that argument when it suits you, but then still try to cash in on the clout after the fact. That just kind of feels dishonest.
Yeah. I mean, you cannot take the good and the bad. It's like you have to
Yes.
take both. You know, you cannot
Yes.
you cannot be like, oh yeah, by the way, like way after the fact, always just claiming clout. I'm just like, this is not how it works. I mean, it is how it works, but it's not how it
It shouldn't be how it works. Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. So we've been really back and forth between charts and talking shit, but hey, this is Casual Friday. I guess that's what people are here for. Someone left a comment on one of the episodes being like, the show starts at, and it was like 8 minutes after the intro chat bit, and it's like, dude, like, you know, like I get it, but also the actual free-flowing conversation intro chat bit, I think at least is my favorite part of the show. Like anyone can do the fucking technicals in 20. Like if we want to just do a technical show, it'd take us 20 minutes max. Be like, what do you think of this? Monthly, weekly, daily, cool, next, and that's done. And that's not an invaluable service. That's what the newsletter's for, and my Monday markets shit is for. But this is supposed to be a bit more kind of honest, I guess, and unscripted, so to speak. So for those of you who enjoy that, we very much appreciate you. And for those of you who don't, I'm sorry, but also not, because I disagree with your taste. ETH USD finally, Don. Oh my fuck! I would have been so upset if 2100 didn't break on the weekly. I was just begging for this thing to let the 1900 weekly setup cook. So this is going to be one of those nice future cred video hindsight examples. I'm sure we can crop some clips from Casual Friday or Monday Markets about the double fake outs are rare type of thing. Even if this thing ends up like full retracing and going to zero at this point, the fact that it had some follow through after the 1900 reclaim, it just kind of makes me feel good. So it's done that much at least. ETH BTC we discussed is for now still not super eventful. It's a nice wick and a nice green daily, but structure-wise, higher time frame trend-wise, hasn't really done all too much. ETH USD, however, on the back of this breakout, is starting to reach a level we've been talking about for months at this point, which is the 2500 weekly. Do you still have this level? Does the context of the market change your view as to whether it matters or not? What's your ETH roadmap looking like?
No, I really like it. I think like 2.5K a weekly level into the monthly level, which is 2.3K, would be quite a nice setup. So if you get a push towards 2.5 and like bearishness there, and then you close below 2.3, I think that's bearish, just in general, a bearish setup. And that'd be a good one to play to the downside. And obviously the other way around, if you close the monthly above 2.3 and the weekly above 2.5, that starts looking quite aggressive. And I mean, it's an altcoin, right? ETH is an altcoin. So if it reclaims even like a little bit against Bitcoin, like let's say it goes back all the way back into the old range, that's like 30%, right? And that would take ETH USD, even if Bitcoin didn't move from here, would take it towards like 3K. Which a lot of people would be euphoric about, but at the end of the day, it's just catching up on what Bitcoin did. So, like, I think 2.5 is basically the level to beat. If it doesn't, I think the bear is going to have some fun with this, because then you can basically short it down to 2.3, have that time frame kind of like the monthly time frame be bearish as well. So you have a weekly and the monthly bearish setup. Those are the favorite kind of setups that I like to play. Just on the bullish side of things. And then you can, I mean, the next support on the monthly time frame is very far away. So you can kind of
$400. They won't trap me.
they won't trap
Respectfully.
you. No, I think like at that point, like 1.5, something like that would make sense on
The range
on that
low,
setup
basically.
point.
Yeah.
Yes. So you could kind of like look for that. Like if you're an ETH bull, you want to see the monthly close above 2.3. We're trading above it right now, so that's good. If you're ETH bear, there's something that you can wait for, like basically rejection on 2.5 and then close below 2.3 on the monthly. That would be a good good kind of signal to trade on the bearish side. It would basically be the exact same setup that I had on Bitcoin at 16K, just the inverse.
Always the inverse, yeah. It'd be one of those time frame alignment type of things, which would be quite
exactly.
nice.
Where you basically snap stuff in place one after the other. It's the perfect setup.
Those are so nice, man. They're like satisfying in a very different way to just like a low time frame punt. Also, why the fuck is Cardano up 13%?
I mean, because of course.
Can we not like have some fucking decency? I'd rather you just get liquidated trying to short bonk than do this to Cardano. But fine, okay. I'm going to pretend I'm not worried about that. Also, like, I'm a bad person. That is no secret to anyone. But in particular, I would find it very deeply existentially satisfying if the ETH catch-up trade ended up being either like a top signal or a fucking dud in general. Because I've never seen such a long queue for a free fucking lunch than the queue for the ETH catch-up trade. Like, that soup kitchen is at max capacity, you know? Like, the night shelter is fucking overflowing with homeless people trying to get on this ETH catch-up trade. And I just want to put that big cauldron in front of them and then close shop, you know? Like, there'd just be something about it. Like, okay, now it's time to rotate to ETH. No, get fucked. Like, I don't know. Again, I'm not a good person, so this is just pure power trip fantasy. But you know what I'm getting at, right?
Yes. I mean, I get it. Like, I look at ETH and like ETH BTC especially, and it's just sad. And then I look at sentiment, and it's the opposite, like the exact opposite of the chart. Beyond like low time frame stuff, because I gotta say, yesterday and the day before, I looked on Twitter and people were very fucking bearish ETH all of a sudden.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the counter argument, right, to the current sentiment. But I think that's a product of like Solana doing so well and Solana Eco and the airdrops, etc. That sort of creates a synthetic comparison between Sol and ETH and makes them bear-tarded ETH, kind of in relative terms more so than absolute terms. But yeah, at least that is a point towards sentiment being not so great, although not for just ETH reasons, if that makes sense. Yeah. Is that what you're pointing at?
No, I also just think that's a little bit of a time frame kind of thing. Like, people are like you look at this thing on the daily time frame, and people got really bearish at 0.051. But in general, everyone is certain that this will have the catch-up trade, right? So high time frame wise, like, people are like, oh shit, yeah, let's go ETH. Lower time frame wise, people got bearish and basically got squeezed. Now, I like this candle from yesterday. I think like these kind of candles can be kind of like trend forming. So there's something to watch. It's good that I put in this candle, but it's still very far from doing anything on the high time frames. And you actually want to see this reverse on the high time frames more than just put in a good daily candle. Especially like if Bitcoin goes up now, and this is something that you've been seeing, like Bitcoin goes up today, it's up 1%. Cardano's up 10%, Solana's up 10% against Bitcoin, right? And ETH BTC is down. And this is something that we've been seeing basically every time Bitcoin has been showing strength, ETH goes down. And every time Bitcoin has been showing weakness, a little bit at least, you've seen a little bit of kind of like ETH BTC just bouncing. And that is the worst combination possible for holders, in my opinion, because you don't really get like deep dips to buy, but you also don't perform as well as pretty much anything else in the market. So like you're kind of stuck in this shitty position where, yeah, it's up, but also everything else is up more, but you also cannot buy pullbacks, because every time Bitcoin pullbacks and everything else pullbacks, you actually show a little bit of strength. So you're kind of in this shit position where you just underperform everything, and there's no way around it, even if you like buy the lows, because yeah, other things just do it better.
Yeah, you fucking love setting up catch-22s with ETH, I've noticed, on. Like, if ETH BTC is nuking, it's like, well, yeah, it's a mega long downtrend and it needs to wipe out because it's still bleeding. And then if ETH BTC is going up, it's like, oh, well, this is a fucking froth signal. Absolutely disgusting. Send it to zero. It's like, what am I supposed to do, man? I just want to own the global supercomputer. If it goes up, it's bad. If it goes down, it's bad. If it goes sideways, it's still bad because it's below resistance. Like...
Nah, I just, with ETH, it's basically it's bad until it trades above high time frame resistance.
Fine.
Like that's the minimum it has to do.
Do you count 055 as that level? Is that high enough, or is that too aggressive?
I mean, I think you can be aggressive. Like I'm not gonna be, but I think like if you want to be aggressive, 0.057
Yeah,
ish.
yeah.
That's kind of the level. Then you can go aggressive. I wouldn't make fun of anyone that buys like the reclaim of 0.057 and then it shits the bed. Like, I mean, that's okay. Obviously you were aggressive. Obviously, could have given it a little bit more room, but also, I mean, I kind of get it.
The setup's the
Like,
setup.
yeah, setup is setup, and people have been waiting for this long enough. Like it's been like 12 months of people been shouting for ETH dominance run. It's not been happening. Like I made a tweet like 2 or 3 or 4 weeks ago where I was like, people have been so wrong on ETH for so long that they're just at this point they're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna keep being wrong on ETH until I'm right. And I mean, fair enough, like if you have strong conviction on this thing. And I mean, I think there's worse altcoins to have strong conviction on than just play it like that. It's just funny to see, like from an outside perspective, someone that's been kind of on the sidelines on ETH for the last 30% like downturn relative to Bitcoin. It's just an interesting kind of sight to see where people are like doing cartwheels on every 1 or 2% move to the upside and then ignoring the 10% moves to the downside. It's interesting, but like, I mean, I get it. I don't want to be shit talking ETH for too much longer. I could still see it go down quite aggressively, but I also think with the Bitcoin ETF getting closer and closer, it makes less sense to be bearish ETH on a narrative basis because if you have a Bitcoin ETF, people will naturally kind of speculate on ETH ETF, and then you could see some narrative flows even on that. Like the chart still looks like shit, but at least you get narrative flows, and that could reverse the chart.
And we are close to 057, so it's not asking for like a Herculean effort to make it look less shit on a BTC pair.
So that's kind of it. I think the ETH bearishness on a narrative basis, where you're like pretty safe, it also is going to come to an end. The problem is if my kind of prediction that the Bitcoin ETF is going to be kind of like bearish for price for a while, could be for like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, in my opinion. That would obviously not be great for ETH either, So you could, even if the narrative turns around, if the entire crypto narrative kind of goes to shit,
right.
And especially like the problem is like if the Bitcoin ETF doesn't do anything, like what kind of narrative does ETH have at that point, right? Because the whole narrative of people kind of speculating on this ETH turnaround is basically like, hey, Bitcoin ETF did so much for price, so that's going to be good for ETH once that gets through. But then if you see dumping on the ETF, people are going to be like, why the fuck should ETH go up? Because, I mean, obviously, like, people fell for it. I mean, and then you kind of you're in this shit position again,
And there is some evidence of that already, right? Like when it got its announcements for a spot ETF application, the reaction compared to Bitcoin's reaction was a bit shit. So there's already a kind of pre-baked, less positive sentiment as far as ETH ETF related narratives based on the application reaction. So presumably if then BTC dumps or corrects on its spot ETF approval, that would only sort of bolster the view that, hey, we've kind of had a run of the ETF thing and we're probably not going to be able to milk it for 2 coins in a row.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of like the problem you run into, but it could also just be that Bitcoin rallies into the ETF, and then you can play the ETH catch-up trade, and I think then it's not the worst.
I mean, that's the best argument. I think we sort of discussed this last week and on the newsletter, that if you're an ETH bull, you kind of just need 2 things to happen. Is for the Bitcoin ETF to just, I mean, if it gets denied, we're all dead anyway. So, that's nuclear apocalypse or whatever. But you'd want BTC spot ETF approval, and then the market not selling off on that news and instead just rotating to ETH because that's next, or it's under-owned or some version of that, or just recognizing that the Bitcoin-centric flow era is either over or closer to being over than it was. It's just a lot of people were really early to that trade. The soup kitchen scenario happens if, I think, BTC dumps around spot ETF thing, and then you're not rotating into anything, maybe just fucking margin call emails at that point. On the altcoin front, before we get into news very quickly, I really think it's a rather straightforward case of you have to be low time frame trend / breakout trading these names. And that's really the only game in town. If you're looking at BTC for guidance, you're not going to get like a whole lot up here. Same for ETH, and it's underperforming those altcoins anyway. So it requires, and this somewhat sort of has tension with what I said earlier as far as I don't like Bitcoin agnosticism, but I think that's compatible with larger trend agnosticism in altcoins. So to be clear, on average, I think if you're of the mindset of fuck Bitcoin, I don't care about the price of BTC, lol boomer coin, I'm going to trade alts, I think that's a bad view, or on average kind of leaves you with a lot of blind spots. But if you approach it with almost more sort of epistemic humility, and your argument is, I don't know about BTC, but I know that my system on lower time frames is printing signals on altcoins, I'm going to trade them. And then if I'm wrong about BTC or if it corrects, so be it. That's the cost of doing low time frame trend following business. I think that's a better position than the first position. And so when it comes to trading altcoins at this point, given there's no rhyme, reason, sectoral type of thing, whatever, and the top performers really change about, it needs an almost kind of pure altcoin trading approach where you're looking at the top gainers for the day, you're looking at the biggest changes in open interest for the day, you're looking at the biggest liquidations for the day. You've got your Velo, for example, open, or your Coinalyze or whatever correlation matrix watch list that you've got, and you're trading it on the 5-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour breakout, low time frame trend retests, liquidation flushes, relative strength, all the stuff that we've sort of talked about, written about. I've got a whole thread up on finding which altcoins to pick and all that type of stuff. And you just fucking dance while BTC is playing music. I don't think it sort of warrants any further analysis as far as swings or sectors or themes or narratives. I don't think it's there yet. I mean, we could make contrived arguments like Solana ecosystem, ordinal, really far out on the risk curve type of stuff. But I think the best approach is, given an absence of an overarching theme, is still being generally agnostic and using your momentum, flow, liquidity, technical trend, whatever tools, and just punting those without trying to be too smart about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think in general, you just trade the stuff that has good volume, and then
yes.
I mean, if you have to. If you don't,
there's a gunman telling you have to trade altcoins right now.
Oh, I mean, people kind of have that feeling, no? Like,
yeah, 100%.
It's quite wild how this market kind of, like, especially like now that I've been out of it for a while, like how it sucks you in and just kind of makes you feel like you have to do something.
Yes.
But you actually don't. Like, it's not like you're forced to do anything. And it's not like the market disappears in a year or like in 6 months or whatever. I mean, at least I don't think so. So it's going to be around for a while.
Don.
Yeah. So I find it quite interesting, like how our brain just kind of goes like, oh shit, I have to do something. But it's also fine to just not do anything, in my opinion.
I'm very good at that, trust me. That said, if you want to get a lay of the land as far as altcoins go, top gainers for the last week, Bonk is up 229%, and that it's much higher if you look at it pre-listing. Then it's Ordinals, 140%, and then a coin called Big Time, which I just have so much fucking respect for. Listen, the more absurd the name, the more I actually respect it. Like Internet Computer Protocol. What the fuck is that? But it's like one of those just absurd names you almost have to respect for how absurd it is. And then you'll love this, Luna or Luna Classic is up 75% in the top performers. There's a token called Token, unless this is a bug, which is up 76%. And then there's one called Super Beam X, XVZ, XVS, STX, one called Meme, and all that type of stuff. Out of the high caps, which are your favorite, maybe you'll even recognize some of these, Cardano is absolutely smoking everyone, up 36% in the last week. Then it's AVAX, your favorite, this is a bull market coin to flex on, Don. How's your bull market today, dickhead? And then it's Sheeb, Near, Dogecoin, Ethereum Classic, DOT, and other mainstays of the cryptocurrency space and beacons of innovation. So
I mean, that looks great, no? I think this is basically where the Coinbase people are going.
Yeah.
This is why you're seeing this kind of influx of I mean, I don't know what to call it. Retardation is the best description I can give it.
Well, Cardano is the exception, right? Because it's people finally realizing their superior tech. But
yeah. I mean, it's the same with FTT, really. Like if you look at FTT, like it's up 4x from the bottom. That's cool. We just don't learn from shit. We
No,
just don't.
no,
Like
no.
it's quite wild. Like literally, throw up the FTX token and look at that chart. Like, how the fuck is this so high up again? Like, I don't understand.
It's just filling the gap. Listen, there's a big volume profile gap from $21.
Yes.
I don't know what happened around $21. I seem to recall something, but the details are hazy. But now that we've had this big move up from the low, there's no resistance until the bearish retest at 21, and then if we reclaim that, the other side of the range is at 54. So yeah, very TA is a very real, very serious thing, Don.
Yeah, it's fucking wild, though.
But yeah, if you're buying this, I mean,
I just don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, some people have made money on this, and like hats off, whatever you do, you. But that's a really dumb game to play, in my opinion. But people find these dumb games and they make it work. They usually give everything back by playing the exact same dumb game over a too long period of time. But yeah. Fair enough.
What if this is altruistic? You buy FTT to maximize recovery for the estate so that those people get more money back and then ape into your bags down the line.
Yeah, do they actually have FTT to sell? Still,
they might.
I mean, they must.
I haven't been. They must, right?
They must have like infinite amounts.
They must have a shit ton, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, this has been really if you want like a narrative that's not completely fucking dog shit contrived, like FTX estate recovery with how well Solana is doing is not terrible.
Yeah, the claims have been going up a shit load.
Yeah, claims have been repriced massively as well.
Yeah. I mean, they were trading at like what was like 10-20%.
Yes.
And they went all the way up to I think like 70-80.
Something like that. Yeah, that's roughly
so
right.
That's like a 7x.
Easy.
It's quite good.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's good for just crypto in general. Because, you might have quite reasonably, if you got completely wiped by that event, just fucked off from crypto and never touched it. But then if you come back to a better market and then you get a decent chunk of your money back, maybe you'd be more inclined to give it another spin.
Yeah, the problem is that a lot of people that got wrecked by this, they basically bought at like 40K and then Bitcoin went down to 16K and then FTX got liquidated and you're going to get the money. As far as I understand, I didn't do any claim on the FTX front.
Neither.
Like I'm not doing anything because I'm like, well, just fucking deserve it.
Yeah.
But basically, as far as I understand, you're going to get the money back that you had at that time period where it went bust.
Oh, it's like a USD thing, right? It's not the asset. Yeah, I was reading a thread about that as well.
So you're getting bear market lows prices, which is not great, obviously.
No,
like when you see prices back at 40K and you're getting like Bitcoin's back at 40K and you had one Bitcoin, but you're getting 16,000, it's not necessarily nice, but that's how I understand it. I didn't really look into it because like I said, I didn't even bother. I was just like, fuck it. My part can go to other people. Not that much anyway. Yeah, is what it is. But yeah, I don't. So that's why I didn't necessarily keep up with it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
At
but
least
hey, the more money they get, the better. And it's just some form of rehabilitation,
Yes.
Also, we need to keep fucking bear talking because Mark has just been up only since we started recording. So,
well, maybe we need to start bull talking instead.
The ETF is still underpriced.
It's not priced in. You don't even understand.
They don't know what's coming, bro. Yeah, exactly. The CME does, but no one else does.
Oh yeah, they know. I mean, who knows? Maybe like looking at the daily time frame, that's not only chart if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, mate.
Like having those two pullback days that are tiny in comparison to push up, like that's not necessarily too bearish.
Maybe I'll avoid the bathtub after all, is what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe you can.
That was such a ridiculous thing. Yeah, maybe we all can. Great. Let's skim through some news very quickly because we've been chatting shit for a while and I'm sure people want to move on with their weekends. If you've been with us so far, make sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you haven't already. If you tune in every Friday and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, DonAlt is very personally upset with you. Why Bitcoin miners are unlikely to fight a moral battle over ordinals. So this is something we've sort of covered periodically, the whole philosophy of block space and censorship, etc. And it's just really picked up again. Luke Dash Jr., a man of very eclectic views with varying degrees of popularity. Am I being too nice
Oh
there? Let's go with that.
no, I mean that's way too nice. Yeah, I mean the shit that I've seen him post and the shit that he's done, I'm like, that is very, very nice. Anyone that doesn't know, that is into like doesn't know what the fuck like Luke Dash Jr. talks about, that is into Bitcoin, I mean you really should look that up because that's something else. But yeah.
Yeah, there's stuff about cats and masturbation and Catholicism, all things that go very well together.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, like ordinals are sort of inscriptions, NFT type things on the base layer of the Bitcoin blockchain. There is a sort of overarching problem, and there's some academic papers on this about Bitcoin's sort of security model, where as the sort of supply and emissions go down via subsequent halvings or whatever else, the question is what's going to incentivize miners to keep the network secure. I don't know. I hope that's fucking accurate.
Yeah.
That's at least my best understanding, right, of the security fee concern. And so you need people to, like, in order to keep miners incentivized, you need people to use the shit, essentially. Now, yes, you can have like non-economic incentives, but you can't be super pro Bitcoin for game theory reasons and then just bin the game theory when it doesn't suit the specific use cases that you like or approve of morally. That's a bit weird. But so in general, most people, including Saylor, to his credit, are generally quite positive about inscriptions and ordinals and all the stuff going on Bitcoin because it raises revenue and it means the chain is being used and fees are higher, and that sort of allays some of the security model concerns. Now, obviously, among some hardcore Bitcoiners and others, this is like a very unpopular thing because they see ordinals as a kind of, well, they see it as spam, essentially, right? Or like a attack on Bitcoin, whereas I don't really see any reason to believe that. Also, the very idea that you can have those categories based on your sort of arbitrary preferences goes against the core game theory and economics of the protocol, which is that if as long as you fucking pay for the block space, it's yours, right? That's kind of the underlying premise, and also it's very hard to say that these kinds of transactions are good, but these kinds of transactions are bad if you really believe in censorship resistance. Because the second you make that specific sort of subjective, assertion or moral judgment or value judgment, what have you, then once you sort of cross that threshold, then the term ceases to have meaning. Because then someone can, if you agree with censoring for reasons that you think are valid, then if some other state actor or bad actor comes along, they can just use your reasoning with a different moral framework and say, yeah, but there's precedent for this. It's just a really shitty game to play when it comes to Bitcoin. So TLDR, go ordinals, go inscriptions, and go economics, I guess. And I'm not a fan of all of this coping, complaining, and whining, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, their argument is this is a bug that people abuse to spam the network, which I don't know. I mean, it's way beyond what I can understand realistically, but the whole censoring things seems just very odd to me. Like that's the whole point, like that you cannot censor it. If you can start censoring stuff, I mean, what's the point? Like legit, like why do we have this? I mean, we can just have the normal money that you can censor anyway, because that is there's much less friction on the traditional money side if you just ignore all of the trustless non-censor like whatever shit that we have going for us, right? So I'm kind of on your side as well. It seems odd to me that you want to censor the network in this way, especially given that the whole fee situation is not necessarily solved, right? Like the miner paying the miner situation, like that's been a big discussion that always was like, okay, we're gonna take care of it next year, kind of thing, which is inherently bearish, right? Like
It's a tomorrow problem.
yeah, if you run out of runway at some point, like you cannot just be like, okay, well now we figure it out, because at that point you're already fucked. So it's important that this at least gets talked about, I think. So even if you're like not the biggest fan of ordinals and all of that stuff, which I kind of can understand. I mean, the whole NFT thing is a little bit of a funny one, But at least you should be happy that this stuff gets actively talked about and people are actually thinking about ways to kind of solve this whole issue.
And using fucking Bitcoin, you know?
Yes.
I like, you know, you've gone something terribly wrong somewhere if you have me agreeing with like the core libertarian position as far as economic incentives and censorship resistance. That's not sort of my general purview, but this feels like a more or less open shut case if you're somewhat consistent and reasonable. And you know, this article states that they were interviewing Bob Bodley, which is an amazing name. He's the co-founder and CEO of Ordinals and the sort of Ordinals marketplace, Bionic. And he says, from a miner perspective, removing high-fee transactions from the mempool reduces miner revenue. Who's going to actively adopt a new software upgrade to earn less revenue? I think that's 100% correct. And the impact of Ordinals on miner revenue is like getting to pretty non-trivial levels. You know, this is really having an impact, and it is important, and it is helping with the security model. And also, a lot of these miners now are big sort of enterprise, public listed, public companies. So they have a sort of fiduciary duty to maximize profit for their shareholders, right? So it'd be very weird, difficult to justify a decision based on some weird moral grounds to basically avoid making as much money as you can. So fuck it, use the network, try the network, have some fun. We're for it, even though that means nothing. We're 14-year-old intelligence candlestick traders or whatever. But as far as our ideologies go, that's where that lands.
I mean, if ordinals can break it, it's
it was fuck all in the first place. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what the fuck is the argument there? You know,
we're going to replace money, but don't put any fucking wizards or pictures on the blockchain because that's spam and it's going to die. Like, okay, great. Thank you for reinventing money. Very useful.
Yeah, if people are like, oh, this is how you can kill us. I mean, I'm sorry, that doesn't seem like that.
Fucking dead on arrival, mate.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't seem like a tall bar to get over. You know, like if you just have to upload some JPEGs to the fucking blockchain, I don't even know.
We're going to overturn central banks and create a global alternative, but as long as you don't use it for pictures, because that just makes it a non-starter. Jesus Christ,
it's quite funny. Anyway,
yes,
we're too dumb to argue this.
Way too dumb. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon tells Senator Elizabeth Warren that government should shut down crypto. JP Dimon, this really took me back, Don, you know, to like 2017.
Good old times, dude.
Yeah, this is because I think at the bottom of 2017 or like before one of the corrections from, what was it? Was it 6 to something else? 6 to 3 before we went to infinity or some shit? The prices I forget. But he came out and said that it was like some massive Ponzi fraud thing. And then when the market just melted up afterwards, after bouncing, he was used as a meme for ages. And so it's nice to see him back on the headlines talking about the same stuff. The amount of fees that JP Morgan have paid for breaking all sorts of laws and regulatory compliance regimes in the US it's a very big number. So
it should be bigger, yeah.
It should be bigger, yeah. The wall just got 5 feet taller. So I'm not going to take my advice from him, perhaps, or it's not the moral authority on these issues that I sort of look for. And the banking industry and the revolving door between banking and politics and lobbying in the US, it's actually a swamp, to quote the person whose NFTs you hold.
Like, not anymore.
Not anymore. You fucking dump on Trump. There we go. You should add that to your bio. Although he really dumped on you by issuing a collection. I think he fucking owned you, dude. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, dude. I lost a bunch of money. I think I lost like 40% on that trade.
Yeah, thanks for playing, Don. That's what you get when you. I mean, he wrote the art of the deal. I mean, he didn't. Someone else wrote it for him. But how could you expect to come out on top in that transaction? Yeah, anyway, this is like classic shit, right? Bankers talking shit about Bitcoin. Bitcoiners talking about how corrupt the banking system is, how we're building something better. Politicians just following marching orders based on donations and who gives them money. It's also tiresome.
Yeah, I mean, he's been saying the same thing for years and years.
It's like 6 years now, probably before that as well. Yeah.
So I don't really think that is anything. Back then, price would dump actually when he said it. So at least like now we're like, fuck you, and price actually went up.
Yes.
We'll see how for long, but at least it went up. But yeah, I think this kind of stuff you can just ignore.
Yeah.
But it is a little bit worrisome that you have like actual political agendas now. Like where a strong talking point of certain politicians is actually killing crypto. That's not necessarily something we had before. Like before, we had people shit talking it and being like, I don't like it. Now they're like, my platform is basically to fuck this over. And that is a little bit scary. Something that we've been seeing with Warren. She's been like very outspoken and actually been, I think, and it feels like trying to work towards, trying to work against crypto, to say it nicely. So
yeah, and she did the whole Tomas talking point as well with regard to crypto being used to fund them from that shittily researched Wall Street Journal article that then published like a semi-retraction. It's just, it's a swamp.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but yeah, I mean, the making these kind of arguments, like you can be like, hey, we don't like it because it is just in general like an antisocial construct. I mean, on that kind of front, like I can get the argumentation, like a bunch of people are basically moving out of the traditional system, trying to build a new one, which is inherently like at least towards the old system a little bit antisocial, I would say. Like that I can understand, but that sounds very different, right? And that almost sounds like she's advertising. That's why she's not doing that. That's why they have to invent other shit to kind of make it look bad, because the original kind of argument, I think, is basically, people trying to move away from the power structure that is, and they don't like it, which makes sense, right? Like, I mean,
it's
if you're
consistent.
if you're in the ruling class and you see this, obviously you don't like it. But the whole arguments that they come up with all seem kind of shit to me.
Yeah,
but
they don't fucking get it. Also, I mean, maybe they do get it, but it's like you have to pivot the point in a way that's publicly palatable, and then the whole machine of politics takes over.
Yes.
The annoying thing as well is that, historically speaking, Elizabeth Warren's been very anti-bank, and she's been a big sort of advocate for antitrust reforms in the banking sector. So she's been like the bulldog of us, in a sense, to the banking sector in the US from like a policy and academic whatever point of view. So to see her clasp hands with that very sector over crypto based on shitty arguments is a bit disappointing, But hey, I'm not going to speculate on why this pivot came around and look at financial disclosures and all that kind of stuff. This is, again, we're too dumb. We're just candlestick guys, right, Don? So
yes,
out of our wheelhouse for sure. Also, like, bigger picture macro, to the point you made about if you're the incumbent and there's someone trying to pull people outside of your system type of thing, crypto's done a lot of good for the US dollar. Like, the global dollarization that has come as a result of the proliferation of stablecoins is a pretty massive fucking global network effect type of thing. That's at least a plus you have to consider if you're going to take really strong stances like just ban it, get rid of it, it's all terrorist shit, etc. So,
I mean, if they kind of embrace that whole stablecoin thing, I mean, the stablecoins are very, very useful and used a lot. Like I'm shocked that they were too slow to kind of move on that, and that they're still too slow. Like I do agree with that. Like they should have just been like, fuck yeah, this is quite cool. Like people are like moving into stable coins. Stable coins are not necessarily like following the crypto ethos. You can freeze those. You can do, like, we see that all the time. And they could have killed a lot of the use cases for crypto in the process, right? Like you have stable coins. A big argument for crypto is like, hey, you can send money back and forth over the weekend, all that kind of stuff. Well, if you have stable coins, you can do that too. You can do a bunch of shit basically that is quite cool with stable coins. But instead of doing that, instead of being like, oh yeah, stable coins are something nice, they've been kind of just going against them. But also that's probably just because they want to run it themselves down the line.
Always.
It's just how it goes.
Well, we'll see what the future looks like on that one. This one made me laugh. Bitcoin price recovery will be significantly quicker than previous cycles, analysts say. It's like, what do you mean will be? Have you seen the price? We're up like 180%. What do you mean will be? Has been. This is just like a really, it was a K33 research report. And they're just talking about the historical drawdown relative to all-time high, etc. type of stuff. But like, we blinked and we went from 15K to prices where Luna was aping their $1 trillion treasury or whatever. It's like it has been really quick recovery wise. Now, yeah, maybe I'm not giving it enough credit and it's talking about specifically the peak to trough all time high revisit type of thing. But just contextually, looking at like a weekly chart or a monthly chart or just seeing how the market got here, talking about recovery in the future tense is
Yes.
particularly optimistic. There is an interesting bit here about retail traders not wild yet. They're looking at like website traffic and all of that as a proxy. Search volumes, all of that. I'm not sure whether those are the best indicators. I think like Coinbase app is a generally good one. Seeing where the flows are in altcoins is generally a good one. Just your day to day in terms of people asking about crypto. You can use those to build a more cohesive picture. But this wasn't some like detailed critique or whatever. I just found the use of the future tense to be, risible.
Yeah, it's quite funny actually.
What do you think of the art? Like, do you think in terms of if we use the definition used from the article that the recovery is measured as when you surpass the previous all-time high, do you think this will be quicker than in previous cycles?
I mean, from that point of view, it's quite hard, but like that's quite hard to say. Like I could see it take longer than before. Like basically, I mean, we are quite close, to be fair, like, which is crazy to think about. But basically, we had 1,000 days from like 20K to 20K last cycle, and now like we're pretty much at 1,000 days too. So like going back to the high, we're already slower than back then. And so I think that argument doesn't really make much sense. But I think the pulling back like number, as in like, if you remember back, like we were always targeting like for bear markets 80%, right? Like 80%, once it's pulled back 80%, you can just buy risk-free, sail away, and make a shitload of money. I think that number is going to decrease, as in like the bear markets are going to be less steep. I think there's going to be longer but less steep. That's kind of my thesis.
Sums up my personal life as well, Don.
So I think you're not going to get an 80% retrace anymore. Like I just don't think you're going to get that. But I also don't think you're gonna just make new all-time high and then have like a 2-year consolidation and then make a new all-time high and then keep speeding up. I don't think that's true either. I think you're gonna get less steep pullbacks, lengthier consolidations in going into the future. That's kind of
source. I made it up.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of been already happening over the last few cycles. So every cycle, it's been a little bit less. And this one, I mean, a shitload went wrong, basically, and we still didn't get to 80% drawdown. I mean, almost, but we went 77%. Other cycles were even deeper. And I think basically it's not going to get worse than the cycle that we just went through. And I could be completely wrong on that, but it just seems very unlikely. If we get a Bitcoin ETF, why the fuck would you be trading on exchanges anymore? Like you can just, like, your fees are going to be lower on the ETF more likely than not. And the big thing that has new crypto cycle over cycle over cycle has been the exchanges. Has been basically, I mean, it's also on-chain stuff, but you don't have to interact with any of that. You can just buy the ETF, pay less fees, be quite happy with it. And I think over a long enough time period, that will be where the majority of the action is going to go on, because the exchanges are probably, I mean, at least for the serious assets, obviously for the bonks of this world, they're probably going to be home on chain and on the crypto exchanges. But like the Bitcoin, the ETHs, I think you're going to trade if we get the ETF approval, and I think at some point you will, even if we don't get it now. But I do think we're going to get it now. You take a lot of risk out of the system, which is quite good. But also at that point, the whole thing is so adopted that I don't think you're necessarily gonna get the upside that we're used to. So basically, I think the market's gonna go slower, and you're gonna get less bad things, which also leads to less good things. You know, like
Yeah, it's true.
it's just how
If
it
you
goes.
want up only, you pay for it with down only.
Yep. And I think that's gonna go away.
Yeah, I think credit is the big question, right? Because that's sort of the underlying driver for a lot of the blowups that we saw. It's just like mass creation of credit, and a lot of the time using garbage, unhedgeable collateral and insane lending based on nothing, just reputation and whatever else. So I think we'll ultimately, like, I agree. Like, for example, if you have a spot ETF, there's no real reason for GBTC to exist and for that to be used as collateral, right?
Yep.
That was like a band-aid fix. So at least we get rid of that. But I still think there are questions as to how like the future basis trades are going to look like and just credit creation in crypto in general. Because if we just find a way to YOLO degen credit cycles within crypto again, then I wouldn't be surprised if we see similar magnitude corrections and boom and bust cycles. But if that gets reined in a little bit, and I think that's what we're sort of trending towards, then yeah, I agree with the general lower volatility outlook. I just don't want to bet against the creativity when it comes to finding ways to borrow money with dogshit collateral, like, especially in crypto. So I guess we'll have to see how that goes. And this last one is a really nice way to round off, just as a sentiment checked on. Binance to compensate traders who mistakenly bought a rally in AEUR stablecoin. So Binance listed a stablecoin and it went up to $3.25 compared to what it should have been at $1.07. So they just kind of shut it down. And
I'm shocked they refunded people. Like how does that make any sense?
Just like, look, if those traders think this stablecoin is 3 times better than the FX rate, you know, they should be allowed to express that market opinion.
Yeah, I can't believe they got scammed out of their stablecoins, their rightfully owned stablecoins.
They're mega inflated euros.
Yep.
So that's just a funny one. It 'tis the season, as they say. You know, the Christmas spirits. You see something get listed, you ape in. Oh, it's supposed to be $1.07. How does $3.25 sound? So, always fun.
That's why I said the retardation is back in the market.
It's back. It's fun. Just December volatility tends to be a thing, and we'll have to contend with a bunch of fun narratives, either really positive that Wall Street is dumping all their bonuses into it, or really negative that Wall Street's cashing out and ETF has been priced in, all this type of stuff, and New Year fund redemptions. Like, there's just a list of end of year narratives that you can attach to the price action, depending whether it's going up or down, and both are equally made up, which makes them equally valid. So that'll be a fun one to observe. That's all from us for this week, though. Thank you for listening to the show. Leave a like on the video if you liked the video. As always, it's brought to you by Woo. Links available in the description below for their volume-based trading competition going on as well. So check that out if that's of any interest. That's all from us, and we'll see you next week for the usual stuff.
Bye-bye.